Hello everyone. This is the famous game from the 2003 Linares tournament, Garry Kasparov versus Teimour Radjabov, and the game is called David versus Goliath because, well, Kasparov was world champion at the time and Radjabov was a 16-year-old boy looking for blood. And Kasparov got fourth place in the end, and Radjabov got last place in this tournament. It was a double round tournament. Petroleko won this tournament with 7 points, and Kasparov had 6.5 points and got fourth place. And it was probably due to this game. This game was played in round 2 that Kasparov lost to young Radjabov that cost him first place. And this is the only game Kasparov lost in this tournament. Second game Radjabov played against Kasparov, they drew. In this tournament it's 1.5 to have in Radjabov's favor. And it's a very interesting game. A lot of people are saying Radjabov was lost in this game, Kasparov among them. But Nigel Short actually gave young Radjabov much praise for his game. But we'll get to that. So let's see the game. Kasparov has the white pieces and Radjabov is black. E4 and E6, the French defense. D4, D5, knight to C3, knight to F6, and E5, the Steinitz variation. Knight to D7, F4, C5, and knight to F3. We have knight to C6, bishop to E3, A6, queen to D2, B5, A3, and queen to B6 by Radjabov. Knight to E2, adding more protection to the D4 pawn, and Radjabov closes the position with C4. The position on the queen side is closed. Now Kasparov is looking for play on the king side. He goes for G4 with ideas like F5. Radjabov plays H5. We have G captures on H5, Rook captures on H5, and now knight to G3 with a tempo on the Rook. Rook to H8 by Radjabov, and now Kasparov pushes F5. We have E captures on F5, knight captures on F5, and knight to F6. Now opening up an attack on this knight on F5. Knight back to G3. We have knight to G4, attacking the bishop on E3. Bishop to F4, and bishop to E6. And Kasparov plays C3. We have bishop to E7, and knight to G5 by Kasparov. We're going for that bishop on E6. Radjabov plays a queenside castle. We have knight captures on E6, F captures on E6, and bishop to E2. And this is the critical position of the game, probably the most critical position of the entire tournament. As Kasparov is attacking Radjabov's knight on G4. He's given him an option. Either you will capture this pawn on H2, or you will retreat with the knight on H6. And capturing this pawn with knight captures on H2 doesn't really achieve anything for black. Kasparov would simply castle queenside, and this knight is stuck on H2. He can't go anywhere back. So this wouldn't really be a good idea. So after bishop to E2, Kasparov knew that Radjabov wouldn't capture the pawn, that he would probably play knight to H6. But Radjabov plays a very cheeky move. He plays knight G captures on E5. Sacrificing a knight, and you could see that Kasparov was disgusted with this move. So what do you do here? For example, the first idea you might get is capture the knight with the pawn. This seems like the most direct move. But if D captures on E5, Radjabov has this option of playing D4, threatening to open up the center. And after a queenside castle, this G5 move is very dangerous. And if bishop captures on G5, as the bishop has nowhere to retreat. So bishop captures on G5, and now D captures on C3 with an attack on the queen. And if the queen goes to E3 to keep an eye on this bishop on G5, you get bishop captures on G5. Now pinning the queen captures bishop, and now B4, and this is a pretty decisive attack for black. So Kasparov definitely decides not to go for this. And after knight to G5, you also have the option of capturing the knight with the bishop. So let's see what happens if bishop captures on G5. If bishop captures on G5, and for example, knight captures on E5, D captures on E5, Radjabov has this option of playing bishop to C5. and now preventing Kasparov from castling. If he castles, well, bishop to e3 is coming. But okay, this is black is on the attack, and Kasparov is a piece up. So this can be played for white, but Kasparov decided not to go for this, as this is why Nigel Short really praised Radjabov's idea to sacrifice the knight on e5. He said that Kasparov really hates it when he's on the attack. He likes to be the one that has the initiative. Short says that this was actually a brilliant move by Radjabov. So okay, after knight g to e5, Kasparov played queen to e3. Now adding even more pressure here, and well, after the knight moves, this e6 pawn will fall. But Radjabov plays knight to d7, and Kasparov captures the pawn. Queen captures on e6. We have bishop to h4 by Radjabov, and queen to g4 now, not allowing any rook to d8 ideas. Radjabov goes g5, and well, this is already a bit problematic for Kasparov. You can't capture this g5 pawn. If you go bishop captures on g5, you get rook d to g8, and well, your bishop is trapped. You're going to lose this bishop, or you have to give up this queen for a bishop and a rook. So after g5, Kasparov has to play bishop to d2, and now rook d to e8 is played. Okay, it's some breathing space for Kasparov. He has time to castle, so he plays it, queenside castle, and we have knight to a5, going for that juicy b3 square. Rook d to f1 is played, and now knight to b3 check. King to d1, and here is that problem that Kasparov faced. Radjabov plays bishop captures on g3. And it's well, it's a very unpleasant move for white. If Kasparov captures this bishop, for example, h captures on g3, he gets queen to g6 with threats of queen to b1. This would be devastating, and well, you can't really do much about this. You can't, for example, you can't block with the queen because simply queen captures on f5, and after rook captures on h1. As when you capture the knight with h captures on g3, you opened up the h file. So after bishop captures on g3, Kasparov tries to go for some counterplay. He plays rook to f7, now threatening queen captures on d7. But Radjabov simply stops this, rook to d8, and we have bishop captures on g5, now attacking that rook on d8. Queen to g6 now is played, and again there's this threat of queen to b1, and well, this has to be stopped. Only move Kasparov can play is queen to f5, offering to trade queens, and Radjabov goes for this. Of course, he's up a piece. Queen captures, rook captures, and rook d to f8. Radjabov wants to exchange even more pieces. Rook captures on f8, knight captures on f8, and bishop to f3. This bishop can't be captured because, well, the pawn is still pinned. Now he plays bishop to f3, defending the rook and also attacking this pawn on d5. So bishop to h4, Radjabov wants to exchange even more pieces, bishop to e3, knight to d7, and bishop captures on d5. This is completely lost for Kasparov, but he tries a couple of more moves. We have rook to e8, bishop to h6, knight d to c5. Now you can already see Radjabov's plan. Bishop to f7, rook to e7, bishop to h5, and knight to d3, going for this b2 pawn, and also threatening knight to f2 check, forking the king and the rook. And well, it was in this position that Garry Kasparov didn't resign. He just got up from the board and he left the playing hall. So he pulled a Bardeleben. That's a good way to say it. And well, he lost on time. Radjabov had to wait for Kasparov's time to run out, and he was the winner of this game. And well, Radjabov was awarded the brilliancy prize for this game, but Kasparov didn't congratulate him or anything. He just left, and well, after the game, when there was a press conference. When they awarded Radjabov the brilliancy prize, Kasparov came back to the playing hall, and he took the microphone and he gave us a 10-minute speech about how this is a disgrace for chess and how Radjabov was completely lost in that position before the knight sacrifice, which actually isn't true. Radjabov could have simply played knight to h6 and it would be completely fine for black. But Radjabov decided to go for the bold move, sacrifice the knight, and completely crushed the world champion. But of course, well, world champion Kasparov didn't like this. But yeah, that's the game, and that's the story of how young Radjabov defeated world champion Garry Kasparov in Linares of 2003. I hope you enjoyed it. As usual, you can check all my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon.